I shouldn't have eaten before. So, hang on. I always say, do you know what I've got? Have you noticed that? I always say so and okay. Instead of just starting on how I've written it, I have to do a so and a okay.
Everyone does this, though, you don't notice.
And when I edit it, yeah, I have to always knock them out. Like, so cut, and then start my thing. Toit fishing. We're going to look at the Toit Knot today. This is a knot I've been developing for about 7 years now. A lot of that time has been spent actually using it in competitions, in shark fishing, fishing off a boat, and some of the time questioning and improving on the concept and trying to encompass all this new line technology, while in the same breath try and compete with this year-on-year industry drive with new fishing gear from the manufacturers, where we have the industry talking about max torque, drag, the ability to lock down fish with some knots that may or may not even hold up. I'd be honoured if you gave me a few minutes of your time to see what this knot is all about, and also ask yourself just 3 questions in the back of your brain while you're watching this tutorial. Do we need another knot in 2020? Do I like the look of this knot? And thirdly, does what I say hold up? Alright, let's get tying a new knot. Pass the tag in through the eye of the hook or the item you are tying and pull through about 12 inches. With hooks it's irrelevant which side you start. Then pass the tag in back through the eye of the hook or the item you are tying and pull through the full tag length. Ensure the tag end is underneath the standing end. This is critical. Ensure there's 1.5 turns around the eyelet. Ensure the lines exit on opposite sides and the line is not crossed on the back end. Leave this loop loose around the eyelet. Quickly, just double check the standing end is on top. Pinch the hook eye and the loose loop area with your left thumb and index finger and grab the standing end using your ring finger and pinky on your right hand. This will leave your thumb, your index finger and your middle finger free to work some magic. Then wrap the tag end around the standing end 3 times. 1, 2 and 3. Then pass the tag end through both loops that was formed behind the first wrap. Now comes the tricky bit. The concept is to maintain the same direction of wraps. Ensure to overlay the first wraps of each stage in the same place. So, understanding this directional concept, take the tag end and continue to wrap the single line around the previous wraps, which I call the hanger. Wrap it exactly 3 times, ensuring as before you count the first loop correctly. 1, 2 and 3. If you have done this correctly, you will notice the tag end and the standing end exit in the same direction and position. Now, pull the knot gently together by holding the hook on one side with 2 wraps in the correct position, and in the other hand, hold the tag end and the standing end. Then pause and check if it's all forming correctly. At this point, I would also put saliva on the knot to keep the line lubricated. Ensure the lower tag end loop is in the middle and the wraps around the hook eyelet are not overwrapped. Then tighten down until it's locked into position and begins to cinch down. You will notice the body of the knot slip down and jam up against the hook eyelet. Tighten mainly using the standing end with the occasional pull on the tag end. This can then be tightened hard using a bar on the standing end and a pliers on the tag end. Then snip the tag end off to about 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters. So that's it, the Toit Knot. Use 3 wraps for monofilament and fluorocarbon and use 4 wraps on all braided lines. This will work for all line thicknesses and all line weights. You'll find this knot copes with really heavy line. I've tied it with 400-pound monofilament and it forms amazingly well. But I wanted to create a knot that overcomes almost every eventuality, including using it on braid, monofilament and fluorocarbon. And I believe this is the knot to try. I'll just touch on one last topic in this video, and that's heat. Now, this is one of very few knots I know of that has 4 lines running past in the main body of the knot that is touching and binding on itself during the cinching process. So I'm hoping you see where I'm going with this. When you start tying this knot, the more wraps you add, the more heat is generated, and you will see by trial that it's particularly evident on monofilament. The standing end will show evidence of heat. Let me know what you think. Do you like the linear look to the knot? It doesn't have any of these extra pieces of line running from the front to the back of the knot like you see on a lot of other knots. The Uni knot shows this, the Pizza knot shows this, San Diego jam knot shows this. The only downside is the tag end exiting out the rear of the knot, which will not be a problem for most. So as always, it's your turn. I can only ask you to try something new. My hope is you'll put it to test and give it some water time. When you tie this knot, put it through its paces. Question the design, the look. Does it have that X factor? I've also done a full overview on this knot, which will give you some in-depth detail on the full story of the Toit Knot. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial and thank you for watching. Your support would be really welcome. If you have any suggestions or comments, that would be great. Hope you learned a bit and got encouraged to tie a better knot. Until next time, I'm Warren, this is Toit Fishing. Thanks for your time and please give it a go. So designing the Toit Knot, that's something, got some stories in it. A lot of time spent on the beach, testing it, trying it. Got a few friends in the States who've checked it out and seen what I've been doing. I've changed the design a few times, I must admit. The main concept has stayed the same, but there's this sort of back end and front end which I've changed a few times, playing around with different concepts. Kind of nervous introducing a knot to the world. That's kind of weird feeling, like how is it going to come across? Hope it comes across really well. This machine has helped me a lot in developing the knot, knowing exactly what information you guys need to actually use it, and that for me is really important. That it's all very well coming up with a new design, but giving someone parameters, giving them a set of rules to this is how you use it and this is the instruction to do it. I think that's really important. That's almost a life lesson in itself. But I'll, hopefully in the 3 videos, in our how-to, in our in our how-to, in our monster knot shakedown, and in the testing video. Hopefully you're going to see all of that information come across. Hope it comes across well, and I hope you get enough information. Well, you will get enough information there to use the knot, and like I say, put it through its paces, give it some help, and hopefully it genuinely will improve a lot of uncertainties you get there. There's just such a big variation in the quality of these knots and how they behave in this line or that line, and knowing all these different, there's just so much information out there, and you need to kind of take a bit from here and a bit from there and a bit from there, and does it all. Anyway, that's a lot of, that's a lot of.
There's something in there.